Welcome to the Jay and Dre Show. I'm your host, Dre.
And I'm your boy, Jay.
And once again, we're serving them hot topics for discussion this week. Topic for today is going to be, is welfare detrimental to poor families?
To get it started, man, I would have to say my short answer would be yes. And this is why. I actually have a close family member who works with the DSS in our county. And basically, in order to get a lot of the government assistance that people need, you almost have to have no income. I'm talking a family of 3 or 4 needs to make under $1,000 a month. And we do live in the deep south where the cost of living tends to be a whole lot less, but that's still nonsensical to expect the family to make under $1,000 a month and survive. So now you have people that's faced with these choices. Either stay with my significant other who makes $8 an hour, brings home another $1,100 a month, and get no assistance, which was in essence put us back in poverty, because without any assistance we can't afford our light bill, we can't afford to buy proper groceries, especially healthy groceries, we can't afford a decent car. So many things that are necessities in today's life we can't afford, even though we are living in a 2-income household. Or leave that person and receive $600 a month in food stamps, Section 8 housing, and so on and so forth. So to me, man, welfare is definitely detrimental to poor people, and specifically minority people.
I'd like to say this. I believe that the idea of welfare is not detrimental, but the way welfare is done in the United States, I feel it is. In this regard, previously, when my significant other was expecting, and shortly after my son was born, we needed some help. I was working, making about $1,600 a month in Georgia. I went down to get assistance and was actually seeking food stamps. But the office that handles that also handles other affairs, so I just kind of applied for everything to see what we could get. And in short, she told me, like, the state of Georgia doesn't care how you eat. You make more than $600 a month. I said, this is a family of 3. This is not an individual. She said, yes, I understand. This is a guideline for family of 3. So to put that in perspective, I was working minimum wage at Piggly Wiggly, and I would say I made about $600 a month, making $725 and working roughly 25 to 30 hours a week. So to expect a family of 3 to be maintained off of that type of income is in and of itself ludicrous, it's felonious, and I think it's downright criminal to set the cap or the cutoff level so low. The way welfare is done in this country, it really doesn't accomplish its aim. Welfare isn't for people to constantly stay on. It's for, hey, you've hit hard times, and it's to help lift you up out of those hard times. And the way it's currently set up, it doesn't accomplish that goal. So I would agree with that point. What are some things you think could be done to improve the welfare system in America?
I'm not necessarily deaf at different standards or laws that could necessarily improve the welfare system. But what I will say is that it has to be demanded of companies to pay their workers livable wages. I don't understand how 2017, and if we have any viewers from out west or up in the northeast, this might sound unbelievable, where you literally have people working. I'm not talking about fast food, I'm talking about skilled jobs, skilled labor, making $10 or $11 an hour. Yeah. It's impossible to have these conditions and these standards and this level of pay set forth by people with skilled jobs, and at the same time tell them you make too much money to receive government assistance. So now, So now you're telling me that my wife and I together brings home $2,500 a month together. Okay, stay with me. Rent. We're from Hampton County. It's a rural county, low country, South Carolina. Average rent still $700, $800. Boom. Let's knock that down to 17. Family. Let's say we have a family of 4. You're playing between $500, $600 grocery. Boom. Now we're at around 1,000. Okay. Once again, this is a rural county, so we're traveling 30 to 45 minutes to work. Easy. Now we're spending another $300 to $500 on gas a month. Let's say 300 low end. Boom, that's 700. Let's keep going. Now we have groceries. We have to pay child care. Groceries and child care alone, that's easily that $700. So now that's not even including having a phone, which is a necessity to work. That's not including utilities. That's not including trying to provide my child with aftercare or after school, or maybe they need a tutor, maybe they need things to better themselves. I'm already tapped out of all my money, working full time, trying to be a productive American citizen, and yet you're telling me that I make too much money on welfare, too much money to receive welfare. So it's absolutely detrimental to poor people.
I would feel some of the biggest things that could be done with welfare is, for one, there should be some type of graduated sliding scale where it isn't you make nothing and you get all full assistance, or you can go over this magic line that's so low that nobody can sustain their family out of that, you get nothing. It needs to be expanded in that point. And also what needs to be done, I know in a lot of other countries what they do with welfare is, as soon as you get on assistance, they make a plan where, say like a 5-year plan, they set certain benchmarks that's realistic, and you come in every so often to try to make progress, meet, reevaluate, and adjust the goals of that plan to get you off assistance. And that's what I feel is the biggest thing that's missing from welfare. Is once you're on, it's kind of set up where even if you really want to be your best, it's kind of designed to keep you on the government's teeth. And I think that's immoral and it's wrong. I remember I had an employee at my last job that came to me and she was bawling her eyes out. And the reason she was bawling her eyes out, she was about to hit her annual and she was about to get a rate increase of 50 cents. And she was excited at first because a little bit of extra money, but she found out
$1,000 a year, extra $1,000.
She found out it was going to knock her off of the assistance that she was getting. So she would have been ineligible for nothing. So she's sitting there, she's begging me, she's begging the other managers, she begged HR to not give her a raise, because at that particular point, that increase that she was going to gain was going to cost her all the money she was getting in food stamps, all the money she was getting for housing, all these other things of other forms of assistance, which it sounds crazy, but I can't blame her. I wouldn't want to get that raise either. Yeah, it might be nice to make another $800,000, but if I'm getting $3,000-$4,000 in assistance, that's ludicrous for me to lose that. And I just feel that there's a lot of things that could be done to improve it. And I just want to restate this, that I don't think the idea of welfare is wrong, because everybody's going to come across a hard time where you need a hand up. But that's just exactly what it should be. It should be a hand up, not a handout. And I feel that the way it's done in America it's not right. I really do feel that.
And this is my thing with it. Now, in my line of work, what I have to do is I sit down with clients and we go over their bills, different things, and basically I know a lot about their financial stance at that moment, financial status at the moment that we're talking. So you're telling a person who's trying to work at this plant, let's say, making $10, $11, $50 an hour, that they should go to work, bust their rump every day, hard physical labor to barely be able to afford a 2-bedroom apartment or a single-wide trailer home, or living in a rough neighborhood per se, while you also have this person who doesn't work, who lives in a 2-story house, Section 8, they pay $30 a month in rent. They have 3 children. They get $900, $1,200 a month in food stamps. Basically, they drive the same car as you driving. They're living in better housing than you're actually living in. And they have more free time than you do to enjoy their family, because while you're busting your rump trying to be able to pay the utility bill, that's paid for. And you're still telling that person that if you don't work, you're lazy. It's not fair. And I just don't understand how no one sees that. And if I could piggyback this into another subject, because I know you're real big in politics, and I know what your answer is going to be, but I'm still asking for our viewers.
Go ahead.
It's a large train of thought with black conservatives that says this: welfare is absolutely killing the black community. In actuality, Democrats are killing the black community. And if we were smart, black people should become conservatives. That is the best form or thought process of government for us. How you feel about that?
I feel that there are some valid points to it. However, I don't necessarily buy into the wholesale conservative conversion point. Honestly, I feel the biggest thing, politically speaking, one of the biggest detriments in America right now is that there isn't a true left. People try to paint the Democrats as these radical leftists, but they aren't. Honestly, if you took the average Democrat and you compared their positions to, say, George Bush from 2000 or Bob Dole or whoever, or some of these Republican stalwarts from 15, 20 years ago, you'll find 90% of their positions between that Democrat and that Republican are the same. And I feel that's part of the problem in America on a macro scale. But I agree that the sentiment of it, wanting to help people out of a hard condition or help people that's down on their luck, I agree with that sentiment. I don't agree with the application of it. And I do feel that in some ways the Democratic Party, by allowing these things to be enacted and managed the way that they are to blame for some of it.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. And I'm not really gonna make a statement. I'm gonna actually try to post another question. See what I want to learn. So I made a post recently on a social media website, and my feelings and thoughts were of this nature. How can I say this? Basically, when I was younger and someone in my community was locked up, they got in some kind of trouble, man, I was mad. It was NWA 2005. Bump this, bump that. It's the man, quote unquote, whatever is holding us down. The system is designed to see us fail, blah blah, so on and so forth. Now that I'm older, I have a family, I have kids, I work, my wife works, and I see certain things, and now my thoughts are, hey man, you should know better. What are you doing? Not that I forgot where I came from, but it's like, man, listen, the system is the way it is. You know this. It's your job to beat it, because you can cry, you can protest, you can stop traffic, do whatever you want to do, but it's been 600 years of trying to get a certain demographic of people to care about us, and it hasn't worked yet. So it's up to you to overdo and overcome. Now, that leads to, quote unquote, my question. I'm conflicted because the argument is, do you blame the person, or do you blame the system that created that person's mind state? How do we overcome?
Okay. Just so I can make sure I'm clear on your question. You're asking the person that's protesting and behaving in a certain way? No. The person that's...
Don't misconstrue protest. All that's fine. What I'm saying is, the person who's walking down the street with their pants down to their kneecaps, They're basically living their entire existence depends on government assistance, and they're causing trouble to the community. They're breaking into homes, blah blah blah. But you know that a large part of the reason that they're doing what they're doing is because the system was set up before they was born to see a certain group, particularly African Americans, particularly poor people, to fail. So do you get mad at that young man or young lady for being ignorant, or do you get mad at the system that basically was designed to keep them ignorant? That's my question.
Okay, I'm pretty clear on that. I view it this way. Everybody's ignorant of something. Ignorance is simply not knowing. It is not being illuminated on a certain subject matter. And if somebody is truly ignorant in that sense, you can only expect so much. I mean, if I took somebody that didn't know math and I try to ask them to do calculus, you know, it's not going to work. And I feel in some ways the same way. However, with disrespect, there are a lot of people that do know better. There are a lot of people that do know what's going on. There are a lot of people that have seen this in action over the course of their life, and they haven't made adjustments to it. And in that case, I feel it's on them. Because it's one thing when like a child, when they touch the stove, when they don't know the stove is hot. It's one thing when you get burned the first time. It's another thing when you keep putting your hand on the stove. And in some respects, I feel like when you see your friends get locked up and go to jail, when you see your friends go into dire straits, the people around you get into certain positions, and you go and follow suit into those same ways, I can't have a whole lot of sympathy. I mean, my father told me all the time, I've made a lot of mistakes, and I tell you every mistake that I made, so that I can with a clear conscience say, hey, if he falls in that hole, hey, I told him about it. So he knows not to go there.
And okay, now, and that's my mind state, but I can't help being that I worked in the criminal justice system. I worked in prison. I worked at a jail. And I have currently work around people that are now on the streets trying to start a new life. And it's hard to tell somebody, hey man, you know better, you have to do better, when now that they have a criminal record, any job that pays a decent wage is not going to hire them. And it's going back to the argument we had earlier. So now they're working 40 or more hours a week, just enough to say that they have a roof over their head and some food to put in their mouth, but they will never be able to own anything. They will never be able to reach another echelon of living because of this record. So it's like, yes, it's not that they don't know better. The system right now is designed almost as, once you make that first mistake, it's super hard to get to the next level, because that first mistake will follow you for the rest of your life. So
I do agree with it, with your sentiment there. I think for a lot of people, once they've gotten in, like, the recidivism rate is pretty much set up so that once somebody commits a serious crime, they're going to be coming right back, because so many jobs won't hire you. So many. I know there was a big push with the whole get rid of the box thing about a year or so ago, I want to say, on the employment application.
Yeah, that's what President Obama was trying to push that.
Yeah, and it's one of those where I hate to say it, man, but you have to kind of try to see it coming before it comes. And when you get in that situation, if you're unfortunate enough to be in that situation, like, man, I feel for that person, like, especially the one that wants to do right, the one that wants to turn their life around. Because I know there's obstacles out there, but I will share this, and I know this isn't everybody's story who's been through that. Like, one of my former bosses, man, like, he was mixed up in some serious stuff. He did like some real jail time, man. You know, he got his stuff together, got a mentor, and You know, he's working a job now where he makes like $100,000 a year. And I know that's not everybody's story that's in that position. I know he's lucky. But, you know, it isn't hopeless, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I mean, you know, faith in God and a few breaks the right way, and, you know, things can change and be a lot better. That doesn't mean just go back to doing what you were doing. But it's a problem we have to address, and we have to probably most effectively, the way to combat that is with small business, and in particular for people like us and ourselves, black releasees, black business, man.
Yeah, circulate dollars in your community. That's one of the keys to change. Until you control your faucet, you can't get mad at what the other person does with your water. Meaning, until we control our dollar, our income, our economy within our own community, we're always going to be at the whim of somebody else's. And I want to say this. We're to the point now where I'm telling you all, it's getting away from black. It's getting away from white. It's getting away from yellow. It's getting away from brown and whatever other color you want to make up. It's to the point now where there's two people in the United States. You're rich or you're poor. It's less racism and more classism. And until we, as a, not lower class, but as a non-quote-unquote rich people, meaning people in America, the middle, lower middle, people that lives on the poverty line come together and say enough is enough. We're 97% to this 3%. We need laws that are going to benefit us and start fighting over trivial things like should Susie down the street get $400 of food stamps. We have these large corporations getting the millions of dollars of corporate welfare. Until we stop fighting each other and being crabs in a bucket and demand more for our lives, we're going to be stuck with the same situation. But once again, that's where that system comes in. The system has been played so long to keep us fighting each other, meaning poor people or lower middle class and middle class people disagreeing with each other, that we don't even see that we're not the ones holding each other down. It's the people that we're looking up to, the people that's making laws for us. And until we see that, I can't see it changing. It's my opinion.
No, I definitely agree. I wish I could remember who said this, but I can't right now at the moment, so if anybody knows who, definitely comment at me. But I've heard it said before, whenever there's someone above you, in, as far as on the economic scale, trying to get you to look at and vilify someone lower, chances are it's because they have an agenda that's going to benefit them.
That's true.
And it goes to the whole thing, like welfare, even to a certain extent legal immigration, and various other topics where the poor people and people who receive assistance, people who are in certain positions, get vilified. And once you realize that what you're talking about, as far as the difference between them and you, isn't that far, you really understand that your problem really isn't, like you said, the person down the street getting $400 in food stamps that you think, oh well, they don't deserve because I see their kid got a new Nintendo DS or whatever. You know, you don't know what they did to get that, first of all. And there's a lot of kids who will go around or have family that'll buy stuff for them, or kids that'll save up their money. Like when I was a kid, we didn't have a whole lot, but every time I saw my gramps and I did yard work for him, I got $20. I had the most N64 games because I was raking the hell out of these yards out here.
That's right.
And you just bottom line is you just simply don't know somebody's situation. And I think it's felonious for people to be distracted by things like should some people get assistance, should some people not. When you have corporations, the largest corporations in America, effectively paying negative tax rates. Like GE doesn't pay taxes, Exxon doesn't pay taxes. And for a lot of those that do pay taxes, they pay tax rates that's lower than the individuals that work for them. Yeah. And that's not right. Like it really isn't. Like until you, like you said, get things where everybody's kind of invested and tied as a whole, you're gonna have exploitation where people above in the economic system is going to be trying to milk and get everything they can to get out the lower masses, and they're going to try to plant red herrings to keep people fighting amongst themselves instead of seeing what the real problem is, that they're ripping them off.
And you know, I'm gonna wrap it up, and I'm gonna say this: that Gregory said something to this point. When the whole pull up your pants, walking around with your pants on the ground, this and that came out, and he said something to this effect. I'm not quoting him, but it was something to this effect. He said, "Why would I get mad at the guy walking down the street with his pants on the ground? He never did anything to me. But that blah 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 up in that office building with the full 3-piece suit on, that's what's killing me every day." And until we all really understand what he means by that the people that's deciding our laws currently, in my opinion, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them do not have our best interests at heart. Until we start hating one another and come together and force the people in leadership positions to actually lead and listen, nothing will change. But hey, man, it's a great topic. We have to definitely do a part 2. We appreciate you listening. And I'm Jay.
And I'm Dre. And this has been the Dre and Jay Show. And once again, thank you for watching our video. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Have a great day.